Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and I'm going to be doing a Nouvelles deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful ritual deck that can make some incredible boards. This deck just got some amazing support recently and I'm super excited to show you guys this list. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 of the new Pendulum monster, Poisonaire. This card is an amazing 3-of in the deck and is just such a powerful card that the deck really needed. It has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually activate one of these effects to add a level 1 ritual monster or a recipe card from your deck to your hand, or banish any number of recipe cards from your graveyard and special summon a Nouvelles ritual monster from your hand with a level equal to the number of banish, which is a really cool ability about this card. It also has a great ability that you can only use the effects of this card once per turn, but if this card on the field is tributed and added to your X deck face up, you can place this card in your Pendulum zone with a really cool Pendulum effect that if you control a ritual monster, you can actually target one monster on the field, special summon this card, then change that monster's battle position, which helps out a lot with our Nouvelles monsters because we want them in certain positions. We then play 3 copies of Diviner of the Heralds. Diviner is amazing to be able to use in this deck because this card can normal summon itself out, send Arclight from extract to graveyard, and get you a search, which is just absolutely insane. This card helps out a lot as well because it is a tuner monster which can help us go in for synchro plays as well. We then play a single copy of Cyber Petite Angel. Cyber Petite Angel is great as a 1-of in the deck because this card just helps out a lot because if this card is summoned, you can add a Cyber Angel monster or a Machine Angel ritual from your deck to your hand, which will always searching out a copy of Benton from our deck to our hand so we can treat it and get searches of fairy monsters, which is just super helpful. We then play 2 copies of Brillabase. Brillabase is really good as a 2-of in the deck because this card has a great ability. You can ritual summon this card with a recipe card, and if this card is special summon, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add one excavated Nouvelles card from your hand and shovel the rest back into the deck, which is such a good effect about this card that it's almost like Pot of Prosperity, which is really amazing. This card also has a great ability that when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can tribute this card and one attack position monster on either field, and if you do, special summon a level 2 or 3 Nouvelles ritual monster from your hand or deck, which is great to be able to basically just upgrade the dishes, which is just amazing. We then play a single copy of Comprise. Comprise is really good as a 1-of in this build. You only really need a single copy in the deck, and this card is really good because if this card is special summon, you can actually target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it, which is a great ability. It also has the ability when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or when this card is targeted for an attack, just like your copy of Brillabase, then quick effect, you can tribute this card and attack position monster on either player's field, and if you do, special summon a level 3 or 4 Nouvelles ritual monster from your hand or deck. We then play 2 copies of Potus. Potus is really good as a 2-of. This card is great because it lets you draw a card when it's special summoned, which just helps out a lot in this build. We then play a single copy of Frongalias. This card is great as a 1-of, but you only need a single copy of it. It has a great ability. If this card is special summon, you can target the 3 cards in the graveyard and shuffle them into the deck, which is great to be able to just recycle resources, and just helps out a lot in this deck. It also has the ability that when a card or effect is activated that targets a monster on the field, or when a monster is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can choose a Nouvelles monster that you control and one attack monster on the field, either player's field, and if you do, special summon a 5 or 6 Nouvelles monster from your hand or deck, which is great to be able to upgrade your ritual monster and just absolutely insane. We then play just a single copy of Balamanir. Balamanir is insane. I absolutely love this card, and this is actually one of my favorite ritual monsters in the entire deck. And it has the ability, if this card is special summoned, you can add a Nouvelles or a recipe card from your deck to your hand, and it also has the ability that you can target an attack position monster your opponent controls, tribute it, and if you do, special summon a level 6 Nouvelles ritual monster from your hand or deck. And this is a quick effect if this card was special summoned by the effects of a Nouvelles monster, which is great to be able to do that, to be able to just instantly tribute and special summon out Belgrill with this card's ability. Speaking of Belgril, we do play a single copy of Belgril. Belgril is our main boss monster that we're using in this build, and it's absolutely insane how good this card is, because you can ritual summon this card with a recipe card, just like the rest of your Nouvelles monsters, but if this card is special summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. Then, if this card was special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelles monster, you can tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and quick effect, you can target one attack monster that your opponent controls, tribute it, and if you do, special summon one Hungry Burger from your hand or deck, which is so cool that they made an archetype based around Hungry Burger. Speaking of Hungry Burger, we do play a single copy of Hungry Burger, and we have the Collector's Rare Hungry Burger, the only way to play it, so definitely give us a like for that. This card is amazing as a one-of in the build, just to be able to use your copy of Belgril and your copy of Chef's Special Recipe, which just combos really well with your copy of Hungry Burger, and I absolutely love this card in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Angel Benton. You're never summoning out this card, you're just using it to ritual summon. It has the ability that if this card is tributed, you can add a light fairy monster from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to search out cards like Diviner or Cyber Petite Angel. I love that ability about this card, so you're basically just using this for cost for your ritual summons. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's a definite 3-of in the deck, basically just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the extra, guys, we're going to start off with 3 copies of today's menu. Today's menu is an amazing 3-of in the deck that basically takes your opponent out to dinner and lets them pick the monster you're going to summon against them. This card is an amazing searcher that lets you reveal 2 Nouvelles monsters with different names from your deck, and your opponent chooses one for you to add to your hand, and you shuffle the other back in the deck. Then you can add one of these types of cards from your deck or graveyard to your hand based on the monster added to your hand by this effect. If you had a Beast Warrior, you get to add Fish Recipe, and if you had a Warrior, you add Meat Recipe, which is amazing to be able to grab your ritual spell and your monster off this card, essentially being like pre-preparation of rites for the deck. And as somebody who went through culinary school, this deck is amazing because this is like carrying your opponent out to dinner. We then play a single copy of Meat Recipe. Meat Recipe is amazing in the deck as a 1-of to basically just ritual summon into your monsters. We then play 3 copies of Fish Recipe. Fish Recipe is a definite 3-of in the build to help you ritual summon out your monsters, but this is honestly the best ritual spell in the deck just to help you summon out your cards, which is why we're playing this card as a 3-of in the deck. We then play 3 copies of At Table. At Table is an amazing 3-of in the deck and is one of the craziest field spells in the game. With the ability, when this card is activated, you get to add a recipe card from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and once per turn, you can place a ritual monster in your hand on the bottom of the deck to draw a card. And once per turn, during your end phase, you can target 2 cards in your graveyard, including a recipe card, place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, and then draw a card, which is insane to be able to just recycle so many resources with this card. We then play 3 copies of Culinary Confrontation. This card is insane because it lets you choose a Nouvelles Pendulum monster, which is going to be your copy of Poisonera and one of your copies of your Curvature, and you actually get a really cool ability to be able to summon them from your hand, deck, or extract, and special summon both monsters, one to each field. Also, this turn, you cannot use monsters as a material for a Fusion, Synchro, Exy, or Link summon except Nouvelles monsters, and your copy of Curvature. And it also has the ability that during your main phase, you can manage this card from your graveyard and then target one face-up monster on the field, and it gains 200 attack for each recipe card in your graveyard, which is so cool about this card, and I absolutely love that they actually tied Curvature into this archetype, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good in this deck as a 3-of because it just helps out a lot just with the consistency of the build. And then we also play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. This card helps out a lot in the deck overall just to help you with a lot of the consistency in this build. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of Chef's Special Recipe. This card is an amazing counter trap in the deck that helps out a lot. That when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, while you control a Nouvelles ritual monster and negate the activation, then you can destroy that card. And if you control a monster that was special summoned by the effect of a Nouvelles monster, which you usually will when you activate this card, then it has a really cool ability. If you special summoned Hungry Burger, you can manage this card from your graveyard and tribute as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, basically just dealing with your entire field so you can OTK your opponent. We then play a single copy of Staff Recipe. This card is just a good one-of combo piece in the deck that I really love as a one-of in the build, and it's really helpful in the deck, but I feel like you only need a single copy of each of these cards because they're really easy to get to. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Curvature. This card is an amazing 2-of in the deck to work with your copy of Culinary Confrontation. And this card is just amazing to basically put on your opponent's side of the field while we get Poisonaire on our side of the field, which is just really important to be able to do. But I play 2 copies because it's very easy to be able to give this card to your opponent, and you always want to have 2 in your extra deck to be able to give to your opponent one of them. And then basically, so you have a follow-up play, if you draw into another copy of Culinary Confrontation, you can use it again by giving them another copy of this card. We then play a single copy of Elder Entity-ness. This card is just a really good one-of in the deck to be able to send to the graveyard off of a bunch of different effects, like your copy of Diviner, to be able to pop a card on the field just in case you need to. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is really good to be able to just pop multiple cards on the field, and it's a great one-of in the deck. Play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff, and then 2 copies of Dynamundo. Dynamundo is a really amazing card in deck, and probably one of the cards I summon the most in this deck, that has the ability, if this card is special summon, you can target 1 card in the field and 1 ritual monster in your graveyard and shuffle both into the deck, which is just insane to be able to get rid of a card off the field while also recycling resource. And during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can tribute this card and then target 1 ritual monster in your graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which can be really helpful in this build. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is really good as a one-of in this deck to basically just use this card as a double interruption. If you don't have a copy of this card, or it's a little bit too expensive, you can change it out for a copy of, say, Nightmare Phoenix if you want to, but it is a really good card if you have it. We then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. IP is really good as a one-of in the deck to be able to make your copy of Unicorn or SP Little Knight during your opponent's turn. We then play a single copy of Crawl Sheep because we do get that ritual effect off, which is really cool, to be able to draw 2 and then discard 2, which is just absolutely insane. We then play a single copy of Linkuriboh. Linkuriboh does actually come up in this deck every so often with your copy Poisonaire, so it's a really good one-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is great as a one-of in the build because it's very easy to actually summon this card because we do have our copies of our Diviner that we can basically make a level 6 to be able to go in for synchro plays in this build. We then play a single copy of FA Dawn Dragster. We can also make this card, which is really good to have a spell and trap negate. And then finally 2 copies of Herald of the Arclight. Herald of the Arclight is a card we're going to be sending to the graveyard all the time off of Diviner to basically just use this card to be able to search ritual spells or ritual monsters. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Nouvelles before, you should definitely give this deck a try. I absolutely love Nouvelles, especially somebody who went through culinary school all the way and even graduated, which is just so cool about this deck. I absolutely love playing this, and it's just so cool all the support we keep getting for this build. Hopefully we get the guy on Meat Recipe as a Pendulum monster that's a scale 1, so we can summon him out, which would just be really, really cool. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, come part of notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.